And welcome, people, to Unpopular Review Entertainments, our last movie in our political satire month. I'm one of your hosts this evening, Mike Knox, and we'll be talking about my pick today, Wag the Dog. I hope you've seen it. If you haven't, damn it, shame on you. We'll be right back. And that's the wrong one, but that's okay. But we are here, guys. Listen, Wag the Dog. Have you seen it? Well, we're going to talk about it today, review it, and get some reactions as well. And as always, I am joined not by myself, but by a crew. And Chris ain't here, so no one's going to hate. No one's going to cry. No one's going to sit back and make fun of you, be all up in the video, be all in the back trying to be up all in the contract and negotiations. None of that shit today. Just pure fun entertainment. And if someone's stupid, it's because we agree that was a stupid point. Now, as always, I like to bring in the Finn Mattel of the crew tonight. My girl, E Boogie. What's going on, FML?
Not much. I'm exhausted. But this movie was so good. I'm glad you picked it. Can't wait to get into it.
Well, let's talk about it. I'm glad you liked it, first and foremost. And also bringing in, I'm not sure if he's behind bars or is he, auditioning for the remake of Oz, because, HBO's making everything all over again. My man Vic ain't got no fancy name today, which means, how does he feel about the movie? What's going on, Vic?
Well, this movie was very, very interesting. And there's a lot to say. There is a lot to say. And I am also very, very tired, just like E-Book. So I might.
Y'all the ones that be picking 9:30. Y'all the ones that pick 9:30.
It's just been a rough week.
Always 9. Make it 9 o'clock. And today, Chris ain't here, but he's something a heavy hitter, as I hear. My first time doing business with him. The next doctor is here. What's going on, man?
Another beautiful night. Thank you for having me. This was an interesting movie. Not something I would have watched on my own, but it was an experience, and let's talk about it.
Well, let's talk about this movie, and we will talk about the movie Wag the Dog. First, a little backdrop of why I picked this movie. Okay, I'm a production studio major. Okay, so took a lot of classes to be. I didn't understand why I had to take them. You know what I mean? Like art history. Why am I learning art? I'm a communications journalism major. Well, duh. What do you think the first lines of communication was? Through art. So I had to take art class. So I'm taking this class on script writing. And I'll never forget that the teacher said, when you take my class, you will know you had a hard teacher by the homework we give you, and you will know this name. And when you say this name, you will all just go, oh, okay. Okay. And Miss McCluskey was her name. Okay. And this woman gave me more homework than I could ever think I could ever have as a 35-year-old guy in college. Okay. This was annoyingly long class, but she came across this movie and it taught me how to begin script writing, because you would have to write a script. And if you wrote like, I got out of bed and then I went and got some coffee. She's like, well, she would tell you, like, read your whole paper. Anybody have a teacher like that? Just read it all. Well, I want you to write, the sun was rising. It was a cool breeze on this Sunday morning. As I get out of bed, I noticed my flip-flops were not by my bed. So like shit like that, she would have you fucking write to understand her story. And she introduces this movie, and I remember asking her what's so great about this movie that she loves so much. She said, it shows you how you can make people think whatever you want them to think. And America's very good at that. And I was like watching the movie and in a class of mostly young people, right? And I'm the elder statements in the room along with every teacher I had, and admiring, like, oh my God. Like in 1997, when this movie came out, I think I'd have never probably watched it. I was in the streets hustling somewhere. Okay, I'm being real. It's a life that I lived. All right. Knock on wood. Thank you, mama, and everybody else who prayed for me, because I'm still here living now, fat in Florida somewhere. Okay. So in 97, I'm not watching this movie, but I watched it and I personally liked it a lot. So when I had the opportunity to bring me on the program, an unpopular review, and I had a chance to finally pick a movie and political month happened to be there, it was literally the first thing that came to my mind. Well, second was like Bulworth, but I thought we were doing stupid movies. So I'm glad I didn't pick Bulworth. But with that being said, from my mouth, I'm going to start with, ooh, ladies first. Ladies first. What's going on, FML?
Yeah, like I said, I'm exhausted, but this movie definitely picked up for me just from the very beginning, and it was very high paced. The conversations, the rhetoric, it was just the dialogue was really like you had to be alert to catch some of the subtle comedic elements of this. And I loved it. It was just very well executed. It's a movie that knows it's a movie because it's like very Hollywood. That's part of the plot, right? This Hollywood producer Dustin Hoffman plays is obviously my favorite character. Is he kind of like obviously Robert De Niro is the lead,
star,
right?
Yeah, I think he's the co-star of the movie. And watching this, I think like Hook, just personally, Dustin Hoffman gets roles to me that are literally made for him.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the guys that everything I've ever seen Dustin Hoffman, I'm just like, shit. Even fucking Tootsie. Okay, I'm that old. I saw fucking Tootsie. Okay, go ahead.
That movie was popping though.
Yeah, and well, both of these actors are perfect across from each other, and especially in the setting of this movie, like they're both like know-it-alls. They know their industries very well, respect, and you can see how they admire each other. They push each other, and kind of it's hard to quantify whether they're kind of like the anti-heroes of this movie because like technically yes, but you want them to win because they're genius. There's such a level of intellect there and of just knowing how humans are, that you're like, wow, like maybe hey, I am the tail. I am the dummy in this situation. I would totally buy all of this because it's just so highly produced and well thought out. And like Dustin Hoffman says, you have to like think all the way ahead, right? And they are constantly 2 steps ahead of the opponent
and let me interact if I can for a second,
right?
Sure. So just for those who don't know, this is 2 weeks before the re-election for United States president. Okay, he lands himself in a sex scandal. We talked about this last week. All right, that he gets out of trouble. Okay, needs some help out of a situation. So they orchestrate and fake a war with Somalia, of all places. Okay, doesn't she look Somalian? Oh, just zoom in on her face. Just some dunce, white pale skin ass. No,
it was Albania.
It's Albania. I'm sorry, Albania. Albania. So that's the story of the movie. So this tells you how America can do what they want to do to make you think what they want you to think. That's why you have people who still have these conspiracy theories about things I won't mention because there's still touchy situations about things that happened recently and our history that we can be alive for. But I'm sorry, FML, go ahead.
Are you talking about the moon landing?
I was talking about people think 9/11 wasn't real, and I just
oh, that's BS.
Oh no, that was real.
Oh, I know that, but you do know that people think for some,
Yeah.
Well,
this is the perfect movie for those folks because they think everything all the way through. They create this phenomena across the country where people are tossing their shoes in a symbolic way about this.
That was hilarious. Go tell your friends to come do it too.
I'm just like, oh my, it just really let me know how stupid we are in mass, and we just need some critical thinkers because it now in 2022, having lived through so many what people are referring to as like historic events that are just jolting, it felt very much so like a dark comedy. Although technically only 2 really dark things happen. 3 really dark things happen. two of them off screen. The nun who gets R-worded by this fake soldier guy that Woody Harrelson plays. He was in it for 5 minutes
A hot
and it
second.
still left such an impression on me.
Yes.
I was so psyched to see him his picture when they are like, okay, we need a guy, Schumacher, whatever, or whatever. And then they just seeing him in the photo, like, because he's such a good actor and you just know the energy he's going to bring. No, we didn't know what he was going to be when he, finally came onto the scene and they were going to pretend like they saved him and are bringing him home or whatnot. But you just knew to expect the level of absurdity to jump up even more than it already had. And this movie was so absurd and yet felt so based in reality. And I think that's what disturbed me the most. I was really actually let down by the ending. And I think mostly because I was so attached to Dustin Hoffman's character. Like I said, it felt like a dark comedy watching it, but that being said, it was still comedic and there was some lightheartedness. And the levity that he and Robert De Niro's interactions offered were just they were just good for me. I enjoyed this very much. I don't want to keep on taking up too much of your time, but bravo to Anne Heche too, because she played that character to the T. Like, I mean, and there were moments
in general.
Yeah, and well, there were moments too that I was like, okay, they're being a little condescending with her, right? But there were moments that when she was full of despair, anytime they hit an obstacle, she would really like, at some point, she would just go off. And I was like, finally, like, it just felt good to have her get that stress out, because every moment they're just like, oh well, that's nothing and just water off a duck's back, whatever, we'll just pivot and do that. And sure, but I don't know, them not being part of the administration and part of the team, like the weight of everything that was like fucking up slowly during this plan was like, it wasn't affecting them the same way. And I just was so glad when she finally got to go the fuck off. But the reason that she did with the plane crashing, that was ridiculous. Oh my God, this movie is so absurd. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time though, so please let me hear what y'all got to say.
Before you go, I'm gonna get a part. Like, you picked who picked the smoking movie? You picked that,
I did.
right? Okay,
I did.
So what reminded me of this was the scene where De Niro and William H. Macy are face to face, and the CIA pulls them over, and he goes, "Is there a war? Why is there a war? You got satellites, but it's not like just to completely mind fuck them back." I thought was crazy. I was going to get that part in there. Vic, your takes on Wag the Dog?
Well, it's unfortunate, but it's very American. And it reminds me of something that George Carlin said a long time ago that always stuck with me. Every time you're exposed to advertising in America, you're reminded that this country's most profitable business is still the manufacturing, packaging, and distribution and marketing of bullshit. High quality, grade A, prime cut, pure American bullshit. And this whole thing right here pretty much just lays that out. And it makes sense. Why? Because the people that are the most sensationalist and the people that gather the most attention, not necessarily put down things for policy or moving forward or anything like that, those are not the people that get any attention. The people that are, that just create the most hype and generate the most emotions, those are the ones that generate the most attention. This whole movie, in my opinion, was just a layout of how to get people's attention. And the problem is because look, my main issue is just that, like, when you're somebody from the outside looking in, and then people are trying to sell you this whole pro-America stuff, you can see how some of the people are treated and how a lot of this stuff is bullshit, and like, especially from the Latino part of it, a lot of us look at how Puerto Ricans have been treated for the past 100 years and see that like it's not really a big that, you know what I mean? That's why like there's a lot of Colombians that are running to Germany and people that are looking at other options as opposed to the marketing that my parents got when they were coming over here. You know what I mean? And a lot of this stuff is it's unfortunate because it's rooted in reality. And now at the same time, there are certain things that, like, look, I saw 9/11 with my own eyes. I saw it. I saw the thing come down. But then there's people that say that that didn't happen. There's people that say that Sandy Hook didn't happen. But then at the same time, when you watch a movie like this, that's why they would say something like that. That's why they would assume that these things are manufactured. I mean, did you see, and mind you, this movie was made in the 90s. Did you see that whole part about when the girl was carrying like a bag of rice, all of a sudden they changed it into a cat?
Yeah,
Yeah. All of a sudden they put all of this stuff.
Tostitos,
yeah.
But mind you, this was 20 something years ago. Imagine with the technology now. You know what I mean? Like, imagine just, with like just using Illustrator or Photoshop, the amount of shit that you can do, and just to bullshit people. Because at the end of the day, like, I think that as Americans, the one core American value that we have is just the chase of green and the protection of our own emotions. Because as far as like as a collective, as an American collective, I don't think there's a one issue that everybody cares about collectively. That one thing that did happen was COVID, but other than that, no. And in my opinion, it's because of things like this, because we constantly get fed a bunch of bullshit. And it's something that George Carlin said 20 something years ago, and I have a feeling it has something to do with this movie, because wow, it's just like amazing.
Well, we all care about good old Shoe.
Huh?
We all care about good old Shoe.
Yeah.
And the Kardashians.
I don't give two fucks about it.
Fuck
the Kardashians.
You care enough to hate. Right?
No,
we can all unify in either
to care
either
is to
in being entertained or hating some things.
No, to care is to hate, and I don't care enough to even hate the Kardashians.
You cared enough to make that point.
No, I made it because you made it up first. I spoke on what you spoke on, so I added to it as ad libs would say. You brought up Kardashians. I said, fuck them and their cursed pussy that starts with a K. What's going on? Next, Doctor. What's your thoughts on Wag the Dog? And great Vic. I love the George Carlin reference. One of the funniest comedians of all time. Don't get no credit for how great George Carlin was. He was absolutely hilarious.
Who's not giving George Carlin his
credit? A lot of black folks don't know who the fuck George Carlin is. A lot of people of color don't know who George Carlin is.
Oh,
I feel like that's
unfortunate because he was
an assumption.
Protected.
No, that's not an assumption. That's most. I hate to say things that put in politically black and white. No, in general. Just like when I speak, I think of the majority, not the minorities that we may know or we may be a part of. The majority is what's always going to rule. That's why when it comes to the battle of Apple and Android, Android is what people know, but Apple's the number one phone in the world. The majority of black folks stay in a black folks lane when it comes to their music, when it comes to their comedy, especially. Black folks have a hard time taking on white comedy. They get into a George Lopez because he's Mexican, right? But
why is that air quotes?
No, because Vic made me. We was doing the Karate Kid, John, and I could have swore old boy was Mexican. He was like, he's Ecuadorian, and then fucked my knowledge up. So I no longer want to assume some shit.
You know what the problem is that Americans in general go by what they see. So
what we're used to, we've been brainwashed.
No, it's not that. It's just that black culture in America, black culture, what you see, like how people look and black culture is one and the same. You know what I mean? But then, like, for example, when Dominicans talk about Haitians, they're not talking about the same people as black people here. When they're talking about Jamaicans, they're not talking about the same people as black people here. So then, like, when Dominicans get into this whole thing about being racist, because of the conflicts that you have with Haiti. Why? Because Dominicans got their freedom from Haiti. So like a lot of people don't know that those details
See,
or the
smart person
conflict that
down here.
comes with the shit, or like all of the differences that we have. Because the thing is that we all just get grouped into Spanish. And that's it.
I
Because you're
sure
Spanish
did.
speaking.
Yeah, no. But the
No,
thing
because
is,
they
yo,
look alike. You can't tell. You cannot tell somebody a difference between a Puerto Rican and Dominican unless they know the culture enough to identify quickly the difference between the two. And I didn't know it when I was in New Yorker. I only knew because I knew the lingo was different between
like
the
no,
two.
for example, look, it's about what we hear. Like, look, all right, before we get off the movie, look, Trujillo, the Dominican dictator, he there was a massacre of a whole bunch of Haitians, right? But the thing is that a bunch of us look the same because we were all Taínos. And the way that he spotted out the Haitians is that by checking to see if they could roll their R's. That information a lot of people didn't know. So, like, you know, when he was killing off Haitians, he was checking to see if they could roll their R's or not to see if they were Dominican.
Spanish Inquisition.
See, there it is. Next talker, Wag the Dog.
Yeah, word up.
Wag the Dog. What you got?
Wag the Dog. Okay, so I came into this with really no expectations because not generally a movie that I would have watched. The actors, yes, but the movie, not really. But I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this from the beginning. You know, when De Niro, he came into the room, it was like, first things first, this gets out. It's because of y'all. Okay, it's setting the tone. He's like, okay, we need to do this. I need some time. Like, he was about his business. But what was his business? Every time someone asked, what do you do?
What do I do? That's the question. What do I do? I mean, what do you do?
He didn't even acknowledge the question. He just kept it moving. And I really liked that, like, they really established that character. They really established Hoffman's character too. You know, eccentric, you know, comes in, is like, you know, who are you? How do you know me? Why are you here? He's like, and then throughout the movie, I know FML, you were like, didn't like the ending. I saw the ending coming.
I was mad
because he kept saying he wanted to talk about this, and I was like, you can't talk about this. And I was like, it's going to go one or two ways. Either everything's going to mess up because he says something, or they're going to kill him to make him not say anything.
That whole scene felt mad Goodfellas. I'm sorry.
It did.
And I was like, oh, okay. So when it got to that point, I was like, oh, okay, well, I already know where this is going because they already at the home stretch. So they're not about to let this thing mess up. And I was like, man, I mean, yeah, I liked them too, but I saw that coming.
And
I was just waiting for the situation.
What's that?
You gotta go.
I was waiting for him to be a made man and get shot in the back of the head. That's what I was.
Like, you thought they were just going to set him up regardless?
For real? No, I mean, just at that point, because he was all up in his emotions, and mind you, De Niro throughout the whole movie, he did a lot of mob movies in that era. So that his whole aura in this movie was very like, you know, like a mobster. You know what I mean? Like just the way that he felt was just like a mobster. But at the same time, he did Heat and Goodfellas and all these other movies around that time. So, you know, I guess it was kind of
throughout the entire movie, he had confidence. Like, he knew, okay, listen, I am the ish. There's a problem. All right, we're gonna solve it because I'm me. Like, it's gonna get solved. And I was like, you know, I like that about him. You know, and then I like that he brought in the crew, Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson,
the GOAT of this movie.
I was like, what? And then I like Dennis Leary. Like, I really like Dennis Leary.
Yeah, me too.
When he's acting and stuff. Like The Ref, one of my favorite movies. But you know, when he brought in everybody, I was like, okay, this is, you know, he put together a team, he did the thing. But he kept talking about, man, I want to tell people because he wanted that recognition. I was like, oh, yeah, you can't do that. But throughout the entire movie, you know, I was like, man, this is really America. You know, like there's other places where they will manufacture stuff, but like it just seems so ingrained that it was like, okay, like it wasn't even a hesitancy when it was like, okay, this is what the plan's going to be. It was just like, okay, that's part of the playbook. We're going to make something up because that's what we do. And I was like, man, that does really feel like America. I was like, this is American Pie right here.
Yep.
This is the story of America right here. Just
McDonald's or homemade?
No, here's the funny thing. Let me tell you something. No, there's the funny thing about that. McDonald's has created a phenomenon. Why? Because
that was a sex reference to American Pie, the movie, Vic.
No, but wait, no. But here's the truth. I know several people that will not eat fries if there's any piece of skin on them. You ever notice how McDonald's fries have no skin?
I didn't have to notice it. We can see it
because they grow it.
Yeah, no, you never see, and you see other people. You see other people's fries, they have skin. Why? Because they grow very, very specific potatoes that are long.
They're not real potatoes, Vic.
No, they are.
No, they're not.
No,
McDonald's food is not real. It is manufactured in a fucking lab. It's called McCancer.
I think it's made with potato starch, like them papery potatoes that you just add water to.
There's nothing real in McDonald's food, not even their fucking pickles, their onions. I don't even think their ketchup's real.
The pickles.
They have two potato farms, one in Nebraska.
The pickles is already in water. I don't care what kind of
Look, y'all are seeing
hold on. No, stop.
In real time.
I'm sorry. We're watching Walk the Dog. We're watching Wag the Dog, and you want to know you think they got a lab. You think they're growing potatoes. They are not growing shit.
Listen, the bun for the burger is cake.
It's cake
because it has sugar. It's just like Subway's buns or bread. It's just it's cake.
That's why I don't eat Chipotle either. It's a McDonald's brand. That shit fake too.
Yeah, get you some
Chipotle.
But the point is just that, like, look, people won't like. All right, once you see food grow, and then you eat it off the plant, and then you compare it to the stuff you buy in the store.
Oh, it's different.
It's a totally different experience. Yeah. Because a lot of times things get picked early so that they can be shipped off. So like, but then my whole point in saying that is just that there are people that only know that experience of what they see in the store, and then they won't touch anything else.
That's a
you know what I mean?
I get that analogy, and I get that. My kids were like that for a while, and I couldn't stand it. Where I was like, "Damn, babe, our kids act like they don't know what poor means. To have leftovers if it's not out of the, if it's not from the store." But listen, we're gonna take a break real fast. Come right, actually not a break because I ain't got no videos because Chris ain't here. So real fast, guys, coming up this week on Tuesday, our new movie reviewers. We are doing Mission Impossible. Oh, I tell y'all right now, I love me some TC. Okay. Tom Cruise, that is. Then we also got shit. That was the day. Battles happened this afternoon at 7:30 on our Instagram page. Go check it out. It was Zelda versus that person. Then we're doing, and then we also got.
She said Zelda versus that person.
Put some respect on his name.
Then we also have for you wrestling fans out there a PlayStation and an Xbox League coming up. Every other week we got Family Feud here. We also got our new show, which is our debuted Unpopular Review Sports. As my man Christopher Plaxis debuted the top 5 NBA performances of all time, and yours truly, number 4, put Joel Embiid from last night. Don't come at me on Twitter if you got something to say about it. Then we also got the One Tree Hill show coming up next week. We did was that today? Shit, that was today. It was yesterday. Okay, yesterday, Moon Knight kicked off. This episode 4 recap. 2 episodes ago of Moon Knight. What you think about it? Comment below. Let them know. All right. With that being said, real fast, I'm gonna let Next Doctor finish up, and then I'm gonna go right into it, and you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, Next Doctor.
This is definitely a thumbs up. When I got to the movie, like I said, didn't know what to expect, didn't have any expectations, but when I came into it, they just started off right. They were like, listen, this is the fixer. He came in, he did his thing. He got the man assembled the team. They did the thing. I mean, through every adversity, they triumphed. It was like a bunch of points. I was like, man, okay, it's gonna get derailed. I was just waiting to see how it was going to get derailed, but it didn't, because they were like, listen, we got the plan, we executed the plan. I mean, what can you not like about that? That part also is American. You know, you persevere.
But Vic, I'm gonna go with you next. Thumbs up, or thumbs down?
Nice.
You talking to me?
Yeah, Vic Damone Jr.
Oh,
Jr.
My bad. Oh no, this movie was incredible. You know, because in my opinion, this entire month was incredible, because like just about every single movie that we've done has been high. Everything. This is you, America. So thumbs up, definitely.
Thumbs up, definitely, for this month. Shout out to that. FML, thumbs up, thumbs down. What you got?
This movie was so packed with talent. I felt like it was a shoe-in or shoe up, out, shoe. I don't know, something about shoes, and it's a thumb up for me.
All right.
I love that.
And you know what, guys? Vic, you're totally right. Every movie this month for this month's theme has been really good. And so I'm thinking sometime this summer we should have a bad movies month. Like,
that's a good idea.
I've actually thought about on purpose picking bad movies to make us watch them, because we do a lot of, and already my thumbs up for this movie. I picked it, obviously. And I'm sorry, the Willie Nelson part. Listen, this is what I'm thinking about America I Love. The "We Are the World" syndrome of the song.
Oh my God!
With the black church man singing.
Wow.
He went in, and the white ladies could sing.
Oh
This is a random ass black dude.
Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder singing that. Oh man.
Yeah.
What?
But I love the part where, like, when they needed to switch, it was okay. That's not the song. But then he was like, you know what? We need another song. Grabbed the black guy, and they were just grooving. And I was like, man, that was great. I love the way
I need a song about a shoe song.
Something about a shoe.
No, final thought, because we all gave thumbs up for this movie. Just on a personal, I want to say to those, because I had the platform to it, and Chris ain't here to hate on it. Go watch Blackish. Watch Blackish. I'm sorry. I think it's one of the greatest TV shows ever made for us, by us. I know a lot of blacks didn't like the TV show because of sometimes it does give you this kind of thing, this aura. I've learned in this new America that I have to be forced to live in, that if it's going to be our narrative telling the story, then tell the story in our narrative. Tell your own stories can be said today. But before, it wasn't us telling our own stories. Shout out to Candace Burgess and the whole crew for this. I was a fan of Growners. I was a fan of Mixes. This show changed my perspective in my own household as a man, as a father. It's how great I love that show. Someone needs to give a special shout out to Blackish out there today. And if y'all didn't watch Snowfall last night, boy, you guys were stupid. Go watch it right now. Snowfall was amazing.
I'm watching it tonight.
Speaking about shows, after doing this month, I think we should do First Lady. I saw the first episode of First Lady where
I know about. Okay, I didn't see it yet, but I didn't think about.
It's so far it's just one episode in, but mind you, I'm feeling it. It's all about Michelle Obama, Betty Ford, and Eleanor Roosevelt.
That's my wife, because doesn't Viola Davis, she's playing Michelle Obama. Okay, because somebody said I see my wife make a post about, as I gotta look at her face the whole time. So
y'all, Black Twitter is reading her performance for filth, and y'all need to go look at them tweets.
Black Twitter needs to stop.
You know what it is? She's doing a little bit too much with the lips, but
it's not her fault. It's the director, okay? Because Viola Davis is very talented.
The story itself, and especially when it comes to Eleanor Roosevelt, very, very interesting. I can't wait to see more. And mind you, even Betty Ford, like the shit.
What can they find the show at, Vic? Let them know.
Showtime. But you know, the other thing, look,
or stick it.
After seeing everything there's so much bullshit out in the world. Like, there's so much bullshit out in the world. Tomorrow is Earth Day. You know, if you can take a seed, put it in the ground. You know
Sorry, I was trying to do it for you. I saw you put it there.
Because
and I got my
reality of the situation is this, man. Look, every piece of everything that you drink somebody had to grow something to ferment it for you to do. You know what I mean? Everything that you wear had to get grown first. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if you see Wally, you know the importance of plants. So, but that's I am Groot all day.
With that being said, guys, check us out. Next month, we're saying right now, Strong Black Father Leads will be our next satire month. Strong Black, I'm sorry, I didn't say Black Fathers, but Strong Black, whatever the fuck. Strong Fathers of the month. Listen, we out of here, y'all. Thanks for watching.